Earlier this week, Derek Carr had his name come up not directly, but indirectly in an item written by his brother David Carr, because Russell Wilson has flagged the Raiders as one of the 4 teams to which he'd accept a trade. David Carr, in an NFL.com article, said that any of those teams to which Wilson would accept a trade should have called about a trade for Wilson yesterday, indirectly and inadvertently throwing Derek under the bus. The article, by the way, was quietly revised to remove that reference to any of the 4 teams in order to try to undo some of the damage. The damage was done. And Mike Mayock, the GM of the Raiders, had a chance to do some damage today to the relationship with Derek Carr. Here's Mayock talking about the guy who they apparently believe for now is their franchise quarterback.
I think Derek Carr had his best year yet under John Gruden. I think he's one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL, and we couldn't be happier with him. And I tell you, every year, I mean, we evaluate every position every year. I have no idea who might call me or who might not call me. So you have to do the evaluations both on your own players and every other player in the league. And you got to stack your boards and understand what league value is all around the league, and we do that. But if you're asking me about Derek, I mean, I think John and I would both stand shoulder to shoulder and pound the table for Derek Carr.
Okay, we'll pound the table for Derek Carr, but, we don't know who's going to call or who's not going to call. There's still that sense of, if we can get an upgrade over anyone that we currently have and it makes sense for us, we're going to do it. And that is the ruthlessness of professional sports, all sports, football, baseball, basketball, hockey, soccer, whatever. If you're not employing people that you like, people you want to hang out with, people who are your friends, that's how you get yourself into trouble. You have to be willing, if the opportunity arrives, in a minute to say to a guy who's been with you, whether it's 1 year, 10 years, or somewhere in between, that you believe is going to be with you indefinitely, see you later. We have an opportunity to get somebody better, and we think we're able to do it for a fair value. So even though the headline is they'll stand shoulder to shoulder and pound the table for Derek Carr, there's enough there, Charean, from Mike Mayock to not change anything he's said the past couple of years about constantly looking for upgrades at all positions. And some players may be upset to know that, but it's the truth. At least he's being honest. At least he's not lying to players and acting like they have a lifetime pass. They don't. The minute they find somebody better, you're gone.
And there's not that many players, Mike, who are off limits in the NFL. But this quarterback cycle over the last 2 years, I can't remember anything like it when almost every team is looking for an upgrade at quarterback. I mean, we went through this of teams committed to their quarterback and their quarterback committed to the team. And there's just not that many. And it's amazing because used to we would see quarterbacks, even if they didn't quite make it, like a Sam Darnold for a few years, they'd get a few more years, right? Well, we're almost there. We just got to get a little bit more talent around him. And they would pass on quarterbacks in the draft and think they could upgrade with the talent around them and all those sorts of things. Now we're just starting to see teams just go, okay, I'm going to get me an upgrade at quarterback. And, Derek Carr's done some great things. He's had 3 straight Pro Bowls, 15, 16, and 17, earned MVP votes in 2016 when they went 12-3, but that was their only winning record. The only time he's ever had a winning record in a season. He has no postseason starts. It took me a minute to think of Connor Cook the year he started the playoff game because Derek Carr was hurt that year. So he's been good, but he hasn't been good enough, Mike. He would be an upgrade for some teams, but the Raiders want an upgrade on him. And to me, there's only a handful of guys in the NFL that would be an upgrade on Derek Carr at this point. So I'll be curious to see what happens at the Raiders. Russell Wilson certainly would be one of those guys who would be an upgrade, but you got to give a ton of compensation for him.
A handful of guys? It must be some alien hand that has 12 fingers on it.
Okay, a couple of hands, more than 5,
right.
10, maybe 10, 15, somewhere in that range. But there's not a ton. I mean, Sam Darnold's not an upgrade. Some of the guys who are there who would be available, I don't see as upgrades.
Russell Wilson is. And look, here's the bottom line.
No doubt.
Bears, Saints, Cowboys, Raiders are all on notice and have been for 6 days now that Russell Wilson is interested in them. And it would be stupid to think that these teams haven't run the numbers, worked the angles, maybe even called the Seahawks to see what it would take to get Russell Wilson. How can you not do it? When Mayock says you never know who's going to call, you also never know whose agent is going to declare publicly that one of the best quarterbacks in all of football is going to accept a trade to your team. So you make the call at that point and just say, hey, look, what's really going on here, John? Let's talk about this. I want to make sure we don't miss an opportunity to help both of us. Are you interested in Derek Carr? Could we work something out? Let's just talk it through off the record, you and me. And if they didn't do it, then they're stupid. It's stupid to think they didn't. And if they didn't, then they're stupid.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. Russell Wilson certainly is an upgrade on Derek Carr. I mean, he's won a Super Bowl, started in another Super Bowl. He's been outstanding, even though he has fewer MVP votes than Derek Carr. We know how that thing works. So he has been better, and he would be better, and he would lift up the Raiders. And if they're looking to trade, we heard today, Trent Brown may be on the market. Some of those guys, hey, that would be compensation for the Seahawks, who obviously need to upgrade their offensive line. We've heard that from Russell Wilson, that they need that. So there's some players there that they certainly would be willing to give up. It'd take an awful lot of compensation. But if you're the Raiders, you're John Gruden, you have to make that phone call. We know what John Gruden thinks of veteran players anyway, so you build Russell Wilson around with veteran players instead of those rookies coming in to play for you. You're just going to lose those draft picks for a while. But he can get you over the hump, Mike, with this roster if you keep most of this roster intact.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.